stones. But now we are expanding our core, which is we involving the corals things and also any types of things that related to marine ecosystem. So now we are providing volunteering program, which is like helping the reef check recycling program, and also we do the beach cleanup specifically in Tioman. So after years, 12 years, we have been operated. For now, the cleanliness of the islands is improving, but it's not as good as we feel it's free pollution. But the problem is only like when every monsoon season, end of monsoon season, all the trash will bring to the islands, and we need to double the beach cleanup programs. And as you guys seen in the videos as well, it shows how the plastic can give a big impact and also represents a good threat, and that can cause the unstable ecosystem of the marine itself. And also as Tioman is tourism area, so every year the human activities can cause very high pollution. So my solution, my suggestion that we can collaborate with the locals and also some of the schools with educating program, and also some of the program we can like organizing an event which can give them a source of income from the trash, and we can recycle them to do whatever they want from their innovation or anything. So I think that program will see success if they think of like source of income, and also that thing can generate money. So I think that will help us as conservationists and also the locals, win-win situation. That's all.
And for the NGOs, the conservationists, where does the dive industry come into this? Like, how can the dive industry help the NGOs to do what you're doing?
Okay, in terms of collaborating with the dive institution, I think we also do collaborating with the local dive center and also some of the Malaysian dive center, which we asking for their help to do the reef clean up, and also some of them like some of our staff like will be sent to dive center around the Malaysia, and they can like learn how the system they are practicing at the other places that can we bring to the Tioman Island. But I think it's when it comes to marine ecosystem, it really related, and dive institution is really needs to be part of the conservationists, so we can work together to achieve our mission, which is another 10 years we can be a country or islands with free pollution. So.
And perhaps Monica or Julian, do you have anything to add to that in terms of how the dive industry can help? Out of curiosity, before either of them would jump in, how many operators do we have listening today? One. I'm laughing because I don't want to cry. One operator. And how many divers and snorkelers do we have? Quite a lot. Okay. So it would have been nice to have more operators here, so that hearing the answers to these questions, they can maybe put some of these things into practice. But go ahead and answer the question.
The dive operators are busy doing what they do, Dave, which is make money. I think one of the problems we've noticed is that there are different organisations doing different things. So Monica does her thing, which is great. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's fantastic. Jawara Turtle Project's been doing their thing on Tioman for a long time. We do our thing. But the problem needs, I hate using this word, but it needs a holistic approach. So you need some legislation, you need a financial mechanism to make it worthwhile for people to recycle plastic, you need the industry players, so you need the beverage companies have to be in it because they're part of the problem, you need the consumers to be in it, you need better recycling logistics, you need, you need to make it viable. You can't transport plastic off Mantanani to recycle it. Like I said earlier, it doesn't work. So the dive operator that we have here has a role in organising beach cleanups. the dive operators collectively have a role in lobbying the industry body to get involved, lobbying government. The industry body can go and lobby the tourism ministry, because at the end of the day, we're also talking about a tourism product. You know, it's an ecosystem that's being damaged, but it's a tourism product. People don't want to come and see plastic littered beaches, right? I've seen this on, you go on the website, you can look at some of the islands in Malaysia, I won't name them, the ones in the south near Sempurna, and people love going there, but they walk off the jetty and the place is covered in trash, and they are writing about it on the review websites. It's not good for Malaysia, it's not good for our tourism industry. So there's a huge economic incentive here. So never mind the turtles, you know, we're talking jobs here, we're talking about tourism here, which is a huge industry in Malaysia. So we should be talking more carefully, more to tourism ministry. They can then talk to the solid waste management department, who I'm seeing on Monday, and say, sort the problem out. But then you come back to, well, okay, what's the logistics, what's the recycling? So all of those people need to sit down at a table and say, okay, your job is to fix that bit, your job is to fix that bit, your job is to fix that bit. But it's not going to happen until we get more of a collective, collaborative effort, I feel. Everybody's doing a great job individually, but there's a lot of, another word I hate, there's a lot of synergies where if we all got together, I think the effort could be more effective. And yes, the dive industry, the individual players do have a huge role in this, in my opinion.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more. One of the ways that we try to address that, and just one of the ways at home, is through the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority. They have what they call the local marine advisory committees on a regional level, right up the coast, right along our entire, 1,900 kilometres or 2,300, just depending on how you measure that sucker, she's pretty big. But at the end of the day, what those committees do is they're made up of a whole bunch of people from different community groups. So for example, I sit on my local one as the diving and tourism representative, and we also have people that are representing the farmers, we've got people that are just looking at waterways, we've got the NGOs, and also obviously the authorities like port authorities, etc. All these people that you kind of alluded to that are going to make a difference. And those monthly meetings, we make recommendations to the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority on just how we can improve our little bit, if you like, to make sure we minimise runoff, that we're not doing things on the boats that are stupid, like using the wrong suntan cream, or expelling waste into the water, or washing up the wrong way and then putting it overboard. All sorts of little things like that. So I think there is hope, and I think the community that can do the most is the actual divers, because again, we're the ones that see what's happening down there like no others. And if we can make a noise that goes across the whole community and bring other players in, like those restaurants I talked about before in my community that no longer have plastic straws, or when you go into a local coffee shop in my hometown Cairns, you insist that you do not have coffee served to you in a plastic cup. You want it in a cup that can be washed up and restored, reused. So all these little things do add up, and they can make a big difference, just like you said. But I like the word holistic, because that's what the solution is. It's the synergies and the holistic approaches to those situations that actually can make a difference.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think all stakeholders need a seat at the table. Everybody's voice needs to be heard. Everybody needs to play their part. You know, I think a lot of people, when they hear the statistics, you know, there's an estimated 5.25 trillion pieces of plastic floating in the world's oceans. There's a new 8 million tons of plastics going into the oceans every single year. It's very easy for people to think, oh, well, I can't change that. When in actual fact you can. Little simple changes that you make to your everyday life collectively, if everybody makes those changes, it makes a big, big, big contribution. Datuk, I can see that you have something to add to that?
Well, that's what Julian was simply asking just now, how many operators are over here and how many divers are over here. Basically, there's only one operator and the rest of them are divers.
There's two now.
There's two now,
Yeah,
okay.
we've doubled the number of operators.
So probably, I think one of the we were talking, me, myself and Monica just now were thinking of to have some collaboration, where probably MSD will be endorsing the project that they were having, and the information can be disseminated among the dive operators. but I believe the divers itself can play a big role where they can choose to the dive operators that promotes conservation, because the power of the end users or the divers are very strong, I would say so. Yeah? And again, with the numbers of operators compared to the divers over here, I believe that the platform that MSDA have, which in terms of the Facebook and social medias, would help to relay the message more towards the operators, and again with the help of the divers that will choose the dive operators that do a lot of conservation might help as well. That's what I believe. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that sounds fantastic. Out of curiosity, Neil, I mean, is this a role of PADI as well? So in terms of promoting dive centres that are doing conservation initiatives?
Yeah, it's something that we definitely look to do, like dive centres that are more ecologically friendly to the environment, such as yourselves, from the Junkie, who do excellent work. We do look to try and support these new initiatives that they have by providing them PADI support as much as we can. Maybe that's giving out products as such, or actually people from PADI such as myself coming out and helping out with these cleans, so we can get them on our channels to get their word spread out with social media. Because that really is the biggest tool we have these days, is social media. Everyone's on Facebook, everyone's on Instagram. We had a video quite recently from the Bali, one of the manta points, with a lot of the plastic. Obviously that has a very massive negative effect on that local industry. That's definitely not something we want to see in Malaysia. But if we don't make a change ourselves, from myself, every single person here, that's what's going to end up happening. We all need to make a small change. From PADI's point of view, yes, I mean, we're trying to make changes ourselves with our sort of systems, with our supply chains. We're looking to try to exclude any order single-use plastic and go as much eco as we can. But it means everybody has to do their part, as we all said. It's small parts, small changes can help make a big difference.
Okay, thank you. We're actually moving into the last 15 minutes of the forum. So before I open it up, because it would be quite nice to hear the floor's sort of feelings on this as well. Maybe you have some input that you have. Just as a quick summary, if we pass the mic to each of our panelists, could you guys, nearly everybody here is a diver or snorkeler. What can these guys do to make their contribution? So each of the panelists. So what would your just quick summary of the things that these guys can do?
My quick advice would just be, think of 3 things that you can change. No straws, no stirrers, so there's no plastic bags. Just make 3 changes. Pick 3 things and stick to it.
I think Dr. Fazla mentioned it just now. Support the dive centres that are doing the right thing. The most important thing you can do is put your money into the operators who are looking after the marine environment. That's about the best thing you can do. So find a Greenfins operator, find somebody who's doing Project Aware, whatever the program is, find one of those guys and support them.
I also think that as divers we need to actually lead by example, and so that doesn't just mean in our environment of diving. It means that when we go out there into the local community, we ask questions of other community members. So if you see someone throw a cigarette butt on the street, maybe it's time for us to start saying, do you know what happens to that? 10 years from now it might be gone. It won't be gone tomorrow. It might end up in a turtle's belly. So I think we are, as ourselves, educationalists, because we do see what happens down there. So anything you can do as a diver to educate the general community that they have to do something. They have to buy into this. We cannot do it alone. If we see it, they don't. So let us help them see it.
Okay, as a diver, snooker, first you have to, we can't change the problem now. I mean, millions of plastic floating in the ocean now, so we can't change it, but we will solve it together. So as a diver, I stopped using all the plastic bottle. I allergic with plastic, so be an example before you talk to someone. Inspire your action. Inspired by your actions, you know. And everywhere you go, to me, I choose that dive center who don't serve plastic bottle, who have a refill station. They have a refill drinking water, and they don't serve me polystyrene, you know, the food packaging. I don't support that kind of dive center. I'm sorry. Yeah, we have to choose. We have to make the change. As long as there is a chance for you to, you know, to create a plastic bottle, create a trash, so the problem will never solve. So as a diver, choose the right one and go out and talk to people and let your action inspire more people out there. Yeah.
Okay, from my side, to be a good diver, my advice is you have to create a very good relationship between you and also the environment. If you care about the environment, automatically you will care about the pollution, and you by yourself will take all the rubbish, the plastic, and one constituent, if they combine, they can create a very great community that concern more about the pollution, and it can be settled and free pollution maybe like less than 10 years, maybe 5 years, because the statistic of the divers itself is increasing. If all the divers around the world combining, gathering to do all these kind of efforts to collect all the plastic and trashes all over the world, so we have no problem about the pollution anymore. Yeah.
Well, I believe most of it have been have been covered with all of the most of the panelists today. The only thing that I would like to say to close this whole thing, I think David was mentioning about seafood that been discovered as some microplastics. Yeah. Another thing, from the latest research, even salt that you are all using for cooking, they have some microplastics inside it as well. So think about it. You know, a small thing might change a lot of things. Yeah. So I think that's all I would like to say today. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you very, very much to all of our panelists for their input. We have a few minutes left, so I'd like to open it to the floor. Do we have anyone there who's, you know, got a question that they really, really want to ask, or maybe some input they want to give? They've seen a great project taking place somewhere else around the world. Again, it could be replicated here.
Thanks, David. Thanks, panelists. This has been my name is Matt McCarthy. Again, thanks, David, and thanks to the panelists for the great discussion. I've definitely been in dive shops that have had plastic that they serve, and have asked them, you know, is there any, am I coming through? Is there anything you could do about this? You know, could you replace it? So maybe a question to. The response often has been, well, we don't know where to get the alternatives. I mean, there are easy alternatives, sure, plastic or paper straws, paper packaging, things like this, but their focus is on getting divers in the water and having divers have a good, safe experience in the water. Is there any support that organizations like Greenfins or like PADI can provide to the operators of, you know, here's a supplier that you can turn to that is going to be able to give you sort of a turnkey solution to your plastic product, you know, your plastic problem in your dive site?
From the PADI point of view, if we have our members or our dive centres come up with questions as such, we can advise them which operators and which supply chain to use to try and minimise their plastic. Obviously, we're supplying ourselves the materials. We're trying to use the best practices for our side of supply chain.
mean, I think the question is basically you need to make it as simple as possible for people to follow these practices. So is there anywhere, like a simple one-stop shop? I want to get involved in this. How can I do it?
I don't believe there is a one-stop shop, but I can tell you that the action groups that are working in my community, they do exactly that. So your question is excellent. What they do is, with a dive shop operator has got so many things on their plate every single day, they sometimes don't get a chance to bring this to the forefront. So what our local community has done is they have sourced where you get your cardboard straws from, where you get your biodegradable whatevers, and even now we're starting to see in Australian shopping centres where you can get plastic bags that when they do disintegrate, well actually not plastic, they're vegetable matter, and they don't produce a little micro ball. So there's more of this information being put out there these days. So it's a good idea to stimulate your local community that might be an action group to source those, find out what they are and share it with you.
Yeah, it's a really good question, and I'm just making a note to put something together on the Greenfins website, because that will be one place to go. Yeah, there is lots of information, but it's going to be dispersed. We've got, on our Recheck website, we've got half a dozen people who provide reusable, recyclable stuff, but it's not an easy list to find. Like, where'd you get environmentally friendly sunscreen? It's a good question, so I'll work on it. I don't know about anybody else, but I'll work on it.
Thank you very much for the question. Do we have any other questions or comments? So please just introduce yourself before you ask the question.
Hello, my name is Helen Klimek. I was just wondering, I think one of the most important points potentially is to make clear to people that making money and being a responsible ocean steward, they're the same side, they go together, it's not one or the other. So I'm wondering if there's any initiatives or research out there just proving that point, that you can make money by being a responsible dive operator, for example. Do you, as Scuba Junkie, do you meet up with other dive operators who maybe aren't as involved in ocean stewardship and teach them or show them what you're doing and how it can be successful?
I mean, speaking from Scuba Junkie's perspective, we're always trying to reach out and network and work with others. And lead by example. We don't have the answer for everything. And like I was saying before, there's no point in trying to recreate the wheel. So trying to meet other people who are engaged in these activities, learn from what they've done and implement them in your own resort, then you can move forward.
Dave, you were lost for words just then. That's the first. To my knowledge, there's been no research published suggesting that environmentally friendly dive centres make more money. Not published. But from my experience of the industry over the last 15, 20 years here, environmentally friendly dive centres make more money.
Yeah, I mean, to touch on that, I would say that Scuba Junkie puts the success of the company largely down to our commitment to conservation. Most of the tourists who come to the resort, we ask them, why did you choose this company? And inevitably their answer is conservation. So I think, as you guys as divers and snorkelers, if you're asking these questions when you're walking around the operators, and the operators become more aware that this is what the dive industry want, the divers want, then it'll push them down that sort of path. I believe you wanted to add something.
Just like you said, if we as divers support the environmentally friendly operators. Sorry, do I need to hold the closer? All right. As you said, if we as divers support the environmentally friendly operators more, then that's going to be the product of that. That's going to be the result in 5 years' time. I think Paddy could maybe play a part in that by the way you have a Paddy 5-star centre. I actually personally don't know what attributes or what's the criteria for a 5-star centre, but I'm sure most people do. But maybe if Paddy developed like Paddy Green centres or something and started awarding operators that, and then people would start to prefer those operators, and then you as an ocean steward or whatever are going to financially benefit from being a good operator, being a good diver, etc.
Yeah, it's a good point. To become a Paddy 5-star dive centre does have to meet some criteria to do Project Aware, which is our partner which do promote ocean health. So we do have requirements for dive centres to meet these prerequisites before they become a PADI 5-star? Meeting project at work.
Okay, let me touch a bit from the perspective of Malaysia Scuba Diving Association. We are in the midst of setting up MSDA ratings, and I will include one of the ratings where they are participating into a conservation projects. So I will endorse it. We are in the midst of setting up. We have a goal from the MOTEC itself, and yes, I will include it inside the MSDA rating to be fulfilled as a full 3 stars rating for the dive operators in Malaysia. It's going to be, I would say, a bit tougher from the PADI ratings because we require them to submit the maintenance of their equipment on a yearly basis. They have to submit the reports of their equipment. They have to submit a report on conservation that they do every year. They have, and then MSDA being locally, we will do the checkings on a regular basis. Thank you very much.
As a diver, I touch a bit about the, get together with the eco-friendly dive center, because basically in Borneo, in Sabah, as far as I know, there's more than 10 dive operator is already going into eco-friendly. They stop using the plastic bottle, they start using the water refill system, and food packaging, which is the food containers, washable. So I think it's not a problem to include this conservation project into the dive center. So for the diver, it's a good chance to dive more. You will have more choice to dive with the eco-friendly dive center, dive operators. Yeah.
Okay, and we've got time for just one final comment or question.
Hello, yes, I'm Fiona. Terry was mentioning earlier in Australia that we have an eco-certification program for operators that go above and beyond their environmental and regulatory requirements. A key to that is incentivising. These are businesses that we're talking about, and I just wanted to build upon, and I'm not picking on PADI, it's just that PADI is the only represented company that's here. But I wondered if PADI could actually look at financially incentivising these entities to improve their environmental footprints by taking less of a percentage of cut from things that they do out of these operations, then you're likely to move people probably more quickly to where you want them to be. I think if anybody has something to lose in the diving industry, it's probably these organisations more than even the divers themselves.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's something that obviously I'm the one from the training organisation here, and PADI needs to take a lead on these matters. That's the reason why we've taken part. But yeah, it's something I can definitely bring up with my higher ups to see if we can do incentive programs such as this.
Okay guys, sadly we've run out of time. It is 3:30 and I'm going to get in trouble if it goes on much longer. I would just like to say thank you very, very much to all of our panelists for agreeing to get up on stage and share their thoughts and opinions with us today. I'd also like to say a big, big thank you to you guys for coming along. While it's disappointing that we didn't have a lot of operators, it's amazing to see so many divers and snorkelers that are interested in this. We will be carrying on the Voices on Ocean Rescue Forum again next year, and we would love to see you guys come back again and bring your family and friends with you so we can raise awareness with more people. Thank you very, very much.